I'm going to introduce the next panel, and our chair is Dr. Sarah Baker, who's going to be introducing all the speakers to you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll now move on to our next session, Artificial Intelligence in a Visual Revolution, with our first speaker, Hussein Najafi, with his presentation, AI is Reshaping the Visual Effects Industry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hussein. I'm the visual effects lecturer at AUT's Animation, Visual Effects and Game Design department. Before I start my talk, if there would be one thing you take with you today, I like it to be this. So this like 2-line sentences will let you have an idea of what my talk is about. So far, the way we have been creating visual effects or animations have been procedural, like our productions has been procedural artistry. In other words, algorithms guide the data. But now the shift, the paradigmic shift we all talk about these days is that now data is guiding the algorithm. So it's so AI artistry is basically this. If it might not easy to understand, so this is an example. Like this is a great paper, a mathematical model of lightning stroke. So that's just like just a mathematical model for a lightning stroke. So previously, if you want to create a lightning stroke in a visual effects platform, you study the algorithm, you apply and create a lightning and make a cool movie out of it. But now, so you just like say, okay, I don't know what's the algorithm of the lightning might be, or a good lightning might be, or the lightning the way I want might be. So you just feed in a bunch of lightning you are interested in, and you receive an algorithm that might be different. So this is the thing. This is the paradigmic shift. Okay, so again, like if I want to summarize my talk today, it's just these 2 lines. Okay, so when I was a kid, so in Iran, where I was born, so Disney movies are not in cinemas. They're not considered appropriate. But like Godzilla was on cinema. My dad took, my dad took us to Godzilla versus Ghidorah. And I don't know if you have seen that movie. So in that time, like when we were in the cinema, my brothers and I, it was 3 of us, we were like, wow, it couldn't be more real than this. This is the ultimate reality. So, and like, we were so stunned by like the visuals, and like, we were like, oh my God. And then we insisted our dad, he took us to all of the Godzilla's movies on cinema. Interestingly, the same scene, exactly the same scene, a few years ago turned into a blockbuster Hollywoodian movie, and I didn't go to watch because I was thinking that the VFX was not implemented well. So Yeah, I still prefer the first one. So, but what like drew me into the visual effects and film industry was Terminator 2, 1991. And that was like an amazing, for the first time, I saw like something that I have never been experienced. And I don't know about, you have seen this movie hundreds of times. So like the VFX in Terminator 2 is very much the storytelling. It's part of the storytelling for the first time, and it works. It works, especially the very iconic scene, if you remember, like where T-1000 emerges out of fire. So this is like, you know, that looks silly these days, but like, it's still like it was, still is nice. It's telling, it's part of the story, it tells the story very well. So in few years after this, my 20 years journey of industry began. I traveled all around the world. I worked in London, Istanbul, Auckland, and different places, different projects on feature films, a lot of animations and TV commercials. So I worked on multiple TV commercials in different post-production houses around the world. Until after 20 years, I was done. No more deadlines, and I wanted to be a teacher, and I loved research as well. So I started to become a researcher and a lecturer and at AUT. So I think you all agree that VFX is the driving engine of Hollywood cinema. I know many of you, like myself, might not be a big fan. I'm still watching Tarkovsky as my favorite cinema. But like, you know, although I do VFX, but I don't go watch them. But we have to agree that like the most profitable movies are all driven by visual effects. When you look at the highest box office in the history of the cinema, they're all VFX driven. We are very lucky. I should be proud that many of them are made in New Zealand, like Avatar ones. I'm very proud that 17 of my students worked on Avatar 2. So, but we have to know that VFX is not easy, right? For those of you who are engaged or not engaged, I think you have an understanding that it's a very complicated procedure. There's a lot of repetitions. It's a lot of data-driven workflow, a lot of repetitive errors. But the question that comes forward is that recently that, okay, so things that are getting automated and restructured, this question comes forward, is visual effects a data-driven workflow? So if so, then we can seed data to a model, and the same way as the lightning example. So we just, like, if we repeat something again and again and again, so can we feed it to a model with some human intervention and do some automation? I just have to clarify something, that AI that I'm talking about now is the first level. So I'm talking about artificial narrow intelligence. So applying AI on very specific field of outcomes or data. So it's not a talk about, there's a lot of amazing talk today which addresses more deeper AI kind of questions, like AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, or possibly in future when AI could excel human consciousness. So my focus is here. So we're talking about how AI is becoming part of visual effects industry to create visual appealing outcomes. So since last 8 years, to be more accurate, we see more and more of AI papers each year in SIGGRAPH. If for those of you who might not know, SIGGRAPH is the hallmark of computer graphics. Everything computer graphics, cutting-edge computer graphics knowledge is first presented in this conference. So in my field of study, these models started to show up more and more in different papers. So convolutional neural networks, CNN, generative adversarial networks, GANs or GANS. Diffusion models that you all enjoy, and I loved the advertising talk that it was a DALL-E is a diffusion model, well, an advanced diffusion model, and my favorite one, neural radiance fields or nerves. What are them? So basically, the very basic shape of AI is that you have a bunch, it's CNN or convolutional neural networks. So you have a bunch of data. You go through layers of feature learning to understand like edges and like pixels, and then you start to classify them. And so you basically feed an image. An image is layer by layer kind of processed until in a trained way until you get the outcome you want. But GANs or generative adversarial networks, they try to construct the outcome. So and through many attempts, so the outcome is getting constructed, while diffusion model, which is getting much more popular, the data is transformed into noise data. If you have played around with stable diffusion or Midjourney, you will see that the first image you see is just like so much of blur and noise, and then your prompt starts to emerge out of it. So that's the diffusion model. But my favorite approach, which is NERF, which is inherently 3D. So it comes from the history of photogrammetry, if you might know. So it's the processing of 3D inputs and from different angles. That's why it's called radiance. And then the outcome emerges out of that. So AI in VFX, this is my categories. There's plenty out there. 2 minutes. So image enhancement and rendering, rotoscoping and compositing, and 3D modeling, rigging and animation, and simulation. So image enhancements, this is a paper published in 2017. This is almost at the heart of all the noise reduction. You see it in any GPU, NVIDIA GPUs now these days. But like for rotoscoping that AD will touch on in depth in the next talk, there's a lot of, this is a copycat in Nuke, which like you train the engine, and it just like helps you to do the very cumbersome, labor-intensive jobs of like maybe like rotoscopy. In 3D modeling, which is my favorite part, I don't know if you guys might have heard of FACS. FACS by Paul Ekman studied human face and like introduced lots of facial, and then it's been always like a discussion that can we codify human expressions? This is a paper in 2014, and for the first time in 2015, we saw this hallmark paper, real-time high-fidelity facial performance capture, which basically is training fax data to an engine, and after that, a bunch of other papers, and then we saw the emergence of amazing performances for the first time. This is a proprietary solution, which is called Masquerade by a company called Digital Domain, which you saw the outcome in the movie for this Thanos character, which was like super, detailed with, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen this amazing demonstration this year. So for the first time, this has become available to everyone. Now you can install Unreal Engine, you can film yourself on the phone, you can just like process your data through AI. You can scan your head with the same mobile phone. So the technology that has been only available to the like feature film, multi-million-dollar industry is now liberated. So this is what we like about AI, is that it makes visual effects more and more available to everyone. This all happens in real time, by the way. And this is what we want. So AI is helping us not to wait for the rendered outcome. Thank you so much.